Hi everyone, I'm Amy Lee Miller and I am outside today even though it's very cold in New York, but I have to get some fresh air. I didn't leave my apartment yesterday. Earlier this week it was so freezing that when I was out my toes started to go numb. I think I have some poor circulation or something, so I'll have to maybe look up some natural remedies for that. I'm very big into natural remedies and I'm probably going to do a video on that sometime soon. But anyhow, I'm not going to stay inside my apartment all day today. Later tonight I'm going to have dinner outside with friends in a tent and heaters because that's what we do now. But anyhow, so this video is about the universe and how it can help us further on our paths to getting where we want to go and help us make the right decisions, take the right directions to avoid unnecessary pain and suffering. All we have to do is tap into that force or source, and it also helps to get better aligned. So how do we get better aligned with the universe? I think that's maybe for another video, but I will share a couple quick suggestions here. Breathing, yoga, or any kind of physical activity that you like. And oh, this one is my favorite and it's so easy. It is by doing more of what you feel like, because then you're signaling to the universe that you are ready for more of that in your life. I'm going to share some examples of how my past experiences where the universe has stepped in to help me, where it's trying to intervene when I'm about to make a decision that's maybe the wrong decision, maybe it's trying to save me, and other times it's putting very special people in my path to really help me grow. Okay, so here's an example of one of the times I didn't listen when the universe was really trying to step in and help me. So this was probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and it happened to be a Saturday, I remember, because Saturday is always my favorite day of the week. I just do, I devote my entire day to my creative activities and fun, just whatever I feel like doing. So on this particular day, I was in a great mood. I had had a full day of all my creative stuff, and then I had plans to go to my favorite nightclub and go dancing, and I always have a good time there, so I knew I was going to have fun and I was getting ready to go. And then this guy reached out, and I was single at the time, 0 prospects, and I thought, this could be interesting. So he wanted to hang out, and I knew him enough to know that we would likely have fun. So I told him my plans and said, you know, you're welcome to meet me there. He suggested a different place. Mistake number 1. I changed my plans. Even though the universe tried to give me a little signal, which was my intuition, something told me not to do it. I did it anyway. I said I would go meet him there. So I'm taking the subway, and then the subway ends up rerouting, which I didn't know because I did not hear the announcement they made over the loudspeaker because I was listening to my music. I had my headphones in. So then I end up way in the wrong part of town, way far away from where I'm supposed to be meeting him. And I'm like, oh crap, that was the second clue. The universe threw a big giant clue at me saying, don't go meet him. Stick to your plans. We're going to take you way out of your way. I didn't listen. Instead, I was in the wrong part of town, so I took a cab to meet him. And while I did have a little bit of fun that night, mostly I felt disappointed. And in him, you know, not really the kind of person I wanted to surround myself with, I learned in the end, and even more disappointed in myself for not listening to my intuition. So these days I listen, I pay attention. Do you ever sometimes go to send a text and the autocorrect keeps messing you up, or your thumbs keep messing it up, or maybe you get a phone call right in the middle of it, so it stops you, you're distracted. Maybe it is the universe stepping in to try to help you or direct you in a better decision. So the other day I was about to send a text, and then at the time it seemed like a perfectly good idea. And then my cat jumped on my bed and put his cute little face right in my face, and I ended up dropping my phone. And I said, you know what? Good looking out, universe. I'm not sending that text. And the next day I was so glad I didn't. Let's see what else. So one time I was running and I kept trying to turn the corner and go down a different street, and each block I wasn't able to turn because there were just more and more people coming. There wasn't like an opening. So finally I turned and I ended up running into somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. And that has happened at least 3 times that I can think of. One time I went for a run and I went down a different way than I normally go, and I ended up seeing a friend. She turned the corner and I stopped to say hello, And it was really cool because she had just lost her cat. She was really sad and she started crying and it really needed a hug. And I was right there to provide her that hug. So it was really cool. The universe is amazing. And if we can tap into that, it can really help us to get happier and achieve the things that we want in life faster. I bet if you think about it, you can recall a few times in your life where you did something maybe outside of your normal routine and you ended up meeting someone that made a profound impact on your life. When I was in college, I used to go out dancing a lot. And when I would go, I would drink, I would hang out with my friends, I would dance, I would flirt. Never, ever, ever did I just stand there and take in the scene. However, on this particular night, that's exactly what I did. My girlfriend was somewhere on the dance floor and we were outside. This club had an outdoor dance floor. And I remember it was a summer night and the sky was beautiful. I was in Kansas City and I've always thought Kansas City has such beautiful skies, maybe just the Midwest in general. So anyhow, I was just standing there on the edge of the dance floor. For some reason, I didn't feel the need to try to find somebody to flirt with or dance with or try to find my friend or go get another drink. I remember it was a really long time ago, but I remember I felt peaceful. And I was standing there just taking it in and staring until my eyes met up with a guy right across from me on the other side of the dance floor doing the exact same thing, standing there, taking it all in. And it was crazy. It was like this connection, like this energy field between us. And I wanted to talk to him. We ended up becoming friends. And he is the one that I ended up calling on the day that I was at the peak of, or the height of my anxiety attacks. I was 21 years old, and in case you haven't seen my other video on overcoming depression where I talk about what would happen, I'll tell you real quick. So I used to have anxiety attacks so severe to the point that I would literally pass out. So I would start by getting very nervous, and my heart would be racing. I would start to get dizzy. I would get nauseous. I would get the cold sweats. And then if I couldn't get a hold of myself, I would faint. Terrifying. So it didn't happen every single time I started to get nervous, but it happened enough where I was terrified on this day. I was afraid to leave my apartment because I was afraid that it was going to happen, and I didn't want anybody to see it happen. So I just wanted to stay home. So I knew I was in trouble. You can't be afraid to leave your apartment, right? So I called Fernando. For some reason, I felt comfortable to call him, even though we had only met 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3. So he came over and he asked me a question. He said, "What is it that you're afraid of?" And I said, "I'm afraid of fainting." And he said, "What happens when you faint?" And I said, "I wake up." And he said, "So the worst thing that happens is you wake up." And it was there that I learned that I was afraid of being afraid because the worst thing nothing horrible happened when I fainted. Don't get me wrong, it was an awful experience, but I wasn't going to die. I was going to wake up. So I had been prescribed medication and I didn't take it. I didn't want to. Instead, I healed myself mentally. And with my brain, I healed myself. I was able to trick my brain out of the anxiety attacks. And then the anxiety lessened over time. And eventually the panic attacks went away. And, they can still get triggered sometimes. I have a really sensitive central nervous system, so I have vasovagal reactions. However, when it starts to come on, I can catch it. And I don't think I've fainted in like 15 years. So that is pretty awesome. So the universe put Fernando on my path to help me heal. And even though I was kind of a lot of a mess at that time in my life, in my early 20s, I was still able to tap into it, to what the universe was telling me. And I followed the universe's lead. I followed the signs and I took the right directions, and I became friends with him and I reached out to him, and he and that experience and the universe putting him in my path is part of the reason why or how I got to where I am today, right now, sharing this story. Okay, so another time I ran into an acquaintance, and when we stopped to say hello, for some reason, I told her that I had a job interview and I was nervous. And I said, "What if I don't get it?" So I think it's kind of odd looking back that I would have shared kind of what I was going through with an acquaintance. That's more like something you might share with a friend or a close friend or a family member. But for some reason, I did. And her response changed the course of my life from that day forward. She said to me, why wouldn't you get it? Wow, what an amazing perspective. So at that moment, there were a lot of reasons I could think of as far as why I wouldn't get it. I didn't live in New York, which is where the job was, and the other candidates did. I was light on experience, and I didn't have a lot of accolades on my resume. I was just still building my career. And, I had no industry contacts in New York. So yes, plenty of reasons for them to not give me the job. But I set all of that aside, and moving forward from that day, the dominant thought in my mind was, what if it does work? What if I do get it? What if I do succeed? And that's been my attitude moving forward every day since then with everything I go after in my life, except now I've changed it from a question to a statement. Of course it will work. Yes, I can. I will be successful. Absolutely. So I got that job, and would you believe after that, I never had to look for a job again. The opportunities came to me. And then I took it even further and listened to the voice inside of my head that was telling me, I'm super irritated and cranky way more often than I should be. I was working for a company and I just felt the urge to be free. So I did. I went into business for myself, and would you believe I did not have to prospect one client. They all came to me. And of course that came from a lot of previous hard work. It also came from, it started along my path there upon meeting Haley, that's her name, Haley. Hi Haley, if you ever get to see one of my videos, I appreciate you so much. Haley was part of my path, that the universe put her there to help me change my mindset, to have a more positive outlook, and really change my life from that day forward. The universe is so freaking awesome if we can tap into it, because it's such a beautiful, powerful force. And by tapping into it, what that means is we are that powerful force. So the universe is not just this thing up there guiding us, it's actually within us and all around us. So what that means is that you are super powerful and can achieve whatever you dream of. Okay, I gotta share this story with you too. You guys are probably going to think that I'm lying, but I'm going to tell you I'm incapable of telling a lie. I can't do it. And even when I used to try to tell white lies, it never worked, because I would always follow it up after with, actually, I just lied. So this is true. So anyhow, I was walking home a few years back. So I was in my neighborhood and it was nighttime, so it was dark. I didn't feel unsafe for any reason at all. And I'm walking down the sidewalk, and for some reason, the voice in my head is telling me to cross the street now. And it was illogical, because ultimately I did need to cross the street because I lived on the other side of the street, but I was in the middle of the block and I still lived a block and a half down, so I could easily just cross at the light. But the voice kept getting stronger and stronger, telling me to do it now, until it was finally like screaming at me, cross the street, do it right now. What? So I did. I am not kidding you. The second I stepped into the street and out of the sidewalk, this tall guy appeared out of nowhere. I swear I did not see him a moment before. You will never guess what he did. He threw up all over the sidewalk right where I would have been standing. Are you freaking kidding me? The universe is awesome. It so has our back. I'm Amy Lee Miller, reminding you the universe has your back. So listen to that illogical voice inside your head, sometimes steering you which direction to go. It might save you from getting vomited on, and it might help further you on your path to getting where you want to go faster. Yes, you can.